Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever it is for you. For me, it is just past midnight on Saturday, August the 30th, which makes this the news and the events of Friday, August 29th, day 1282 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the Live at 5 from Kyiv. We are currently under air alert. Hey, David. I see the peeps are coming in. Had a great conversation with David Frazier today. I really appreciated it, David, as do the guys here. Hey, Carl. Hey, Dawn. Just Marcel. Hi, Michael. Hey, Mad Panther. There's Feisty. How you doing, Feisty? Evening, Sharon. Ega burn a boing a burn a burn. I see the Swedish chef there. Love that guy. Hey, Marco, G2, Rocco, how you guys doing? Hey, Danielle, nice to see you. How is everybody doing tonight? People have been really wonderful lately. And I just want to take a look here. Last night, Michael Nally was our sponsor. And tonight it should be Arn. But you know what, Arn? I'm going to bump you. I'm going to bump you to next week, pal. Here's why. Because a bunch of people sent contributions for tomorrow's final summer barbecue for my English-speaking group. And so I want to call them out. There were a bunch. Nutmegger, our buddy Nutmegger, I don't know if Seawolf is here yet, but Nutmegger sent in a little bit of money. So did Gard Erickson. So did Sam Harris. I think there was one more. Oh, Andreas. Of course, he won't be in this list. So Nutmegger, Andreas, Gard, and Sam Harris. My thanks to all of you. There's Seawolf. Hey, Seawolf. I was just saying. Now, other people also contributed. Norbert Hackoff, who was the sponsor of last night's live, Chris Carter, who's amazing, and some other people as well. But for tonight's live sponsorship, I want to mention those guys because, guys, the things that I do here, I could not do without all of you. And so it's your support is deeply appreciated for these projects. So thank you. And everybody thanks you. Should I show you what you can't see anything. The ribs are in that final phase where they're all wrapped in aluminum foil. And they've got about 3 hours left in the oven, and they'll be ready for tomorrow. But I got, thanks to it wasn't Norbert. Norbert bought the chicken and a bunch of other stuff, but it was really, who was it? It was really Avi. Avi let me buy the ribs. So it's a community project, these barbecues. And let me tell you something. These barbecues serve as an oasis of normalcy at a time when Russian strikes on this city, just Wednesday night strike, left 23 people murdered in their beds here in Kyiv. 4 of them children under the age of 18. And today is a day of mourning in Kyiv for the victims of yesterday's attack. And so in this city, these barbecues are they don't only serve the purpose of creating a social environment where Ukrainians can practice their English, which is going to be such a valuable skill for each of them when this war is over. It's a valuable skill now. But when the war is over and there are more opportunities, it will be a more valuable skill for them. And to have this oasis of normalcy, for especially the military guys tell me every week when we're there, that they haven't been around a bunch of civilians doing normal civilian shit, some of them in years. And it's a blessing. And it's with a great deal of gratitude that I tell you all about it, because I couldn't do it without you. So thank you. Hey, Anthony, Tommy, Tom. So thanks to everybody who helped out with the barbecues. It's really, for some of these folks, it's a big deal. And it's a great day for me. I love making food and I love watching people eat it. Hey, I want to ask everybody to do me a favor, please. Let me get this here. Hold on. I have it here. There is a guy who is just shamelessly right. Like, we have a thing on TikTok called a duet. If you want to make a video with somebody else or repost somebody else's video with your face on it too, you can do that. Well, there is this guy who is just ripping off Chad Scott's videos, Preston Stewart's videos, my videos. And I'm going to chat his name into the chat. And I am going to ask everybody to please report this account as a thief of intellectual property. The guy's just ripping us off. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's downloading the videos and then he's putting them against our faces and voices against a green screen. There's a bunch of people in the comments talking to me like it's me, like it's my account. They think it's my account. And it is not. This guy is Shank Taleen. At Shank Taleen is his TikTok handle. And if you go over there and take a look, it's really something, boy. The balls on this motherfucker. You got to be kidding me. That's the name right there. So I don't usually ask for favors, but I'm going to ask everybody to please report this son of a bitch. Right, there's Marius. There's my buddy Marius. Marius does duets with me all the time. And I appreciate it. That's the method and mechanism in this platform to do that. But this guy, hey, Dave, thank you, guy. I appreciate it. I should have Thank you. Yes, pin that shit up there. Hang on, wait a minute. I didn't pin it up there. Who pinned it? That's weird. I assume it was one of you guys. But usually it says Feisty pinned it or whatever. All right, it doesn't matter. Thank you, Lars. Yeah, keep putting that out there. I would thank you, Maddie. I sure do appreciate it. Hey, Scully, how you living? It might be you. You're not doing this. I doubt that very much. If it is you, send me a DM and we'll talk about it. All right. So, guys, it's Friday. Hey, Bobby, how you doing, buddy? Long time no see. Nice to see you. So, guys, it's Friday. Well, I'm talking about the fact that some jerk on TikTok is just ripping off my videos and a bunch of other videos. That's his TikTok handle there, pinned in the comments. And, or it was pinned. I don't know where it went now. Maybe somebody else. Lars, can you chat it back in again and pin it to the top there? And if you could do me a favor, please, and report this guy. Well, thanks, Marius. I sure appreciate it. Thank you, Lars. Happy Friday, Pistol Pete. So, okay, enough of my personal life, right? Enough of the barbecue talk, enough of the rip-off artist, Shank Taleen, whoever he is. Thank you, Jep. Whoop, whoop. It is Friday. Tonight is not going to be the regular news segment because today just got away from me. All the preparations for tomorrow, the time that I spent out, some of you might have been in my live this afternoon when we were out on Hydro Park. And it's just been a busy day. So I'm going to let you drive the conversation. What do you want to talk about? What questions do you have? What are you worried about? Oh, I will mention one thing. It was a great joy to me. No, best word, joy. The president of Portugal said the words, objectively, Donald Trump is clearly a Soviet or Russian asset. And it was so good to hear that from somebody in a position of power. We have got to get over this bullshit with Trump, thinking that Trump is going to help anybody, thinking that Trump is going to be a peacemaker in Ukraine. His minerals deal was the worst kind of neo-colonial economic exploitation that I have ever seen. The guy is a piece of shit. He's 300 pounds of dog shit and fake tan in a Brooks Brothers suit. He is a walking canker sore. Nightmare before God. There's a word for what he is. It's traitor. It's traitor. Have you seen these cabinet meetings? These cabinet meetings where, oh, Donald, Mr. President, you have made the world so much safer and better for everyone. Only you could have done these wonderful things. My God, I want to puke every fucking time. This guy has subverted. We have to start calling it what it is, guys. It's a coup. The United States federal system of government has been subverted by a malign foreign agent in the person of Donald Trump. And make no mistake, we would not have Donald Trump with North Korean style, exactly, WC. It's North Korean style insanity. Insanity. What was I just going to say about this? We have got to stop acting like he's a legitimate person. And we have got to start calling this situation what it is. It's a coup. What the hell is he doing now? He's getting ready to deport people to a prison in Rwanda? Are you fucking kidding me? Complete insanity. Complete insanity. So this guy has, in my opinion, subverted the federal system of government, and he would not have been possible without the billions of dollars and the decades of disinformation that Russia poured into the United States, poisoning our political discourse for decades. Billions of dollars they spent to get us to a place where enough of the American people would show up and vote for a dictator. He actually said the other day, oh, a lot of people, they would prefer a dictator. At least the 28% of people that voted for me, Donald J. Trump. I mean, it makes me crazy. It makes me absolutely crazy. It's happening in the UK too, is it? It's certainly happening in Poland with this new guy, Naraki. This guy is no friend to Ukraine, that's for sure. Mad Panther says that the Tu-95s and the Tu-160s are in the air. We know that, right? We know that we're under air threat. The question is it going to be a busy night or is it going to be a fairly quiet night? Do the Russians have enough drones? They just hit, Magyar's birds just took out a drone warehouse in Oriel last night with at least 200 Shaheds in it. And so that's gone. What are their stockpiles like? With everything that the Ukrainians have thrown at their drone supply lines, how many drones can they possibly have in storage? We don't know. And that's what we're waiting to see, is what tonight is going to be like. Firefighter, I apologize. Maybe it is Uganda. I said Rwanda, right? I'm not sure where it is. But there is some place in... So first we have this nightmare down in Central America. Not to mention alligator Auschwitz in Florida. Now he's sending people, some of them undoubtedly American citizens. One of his brown shirt fascist goons, an escapee, or rather a pardoned warrior of January 6th, was just recently involved in an altercation with an American citizen of Latino origin, who, when he confronted the ICE agent, this January 6th piece of shit, told this American citizen, one of his fellow Americans, "You don't have any rights, amigo." If that guy in Florida doesn't have any rights, none of us have any rights. That's how rights work. That's how rights work. Yeah, Debbie, what is alligator Alcatraz costing us? I want to say it's $455 million a month, over $1 million a day. But I'm not sure. If anybody wants to look that up, I'd be interested. He pardoned them so that he can put them to work in ICE, so that they can do another January 6th again. You're not wrong about that. He has put them to work as his brown shirt goons. Pfft, saving money, what a joke. That might be Roger. B.A. Cole, I don't know what the circumstances were. What were the circumstances under which Kathy Holcomb put the National Guard in the New York City subway? I don't know who Kathy Holcomb is. And I used to live in Manhattan. I met an American the other day with a t-shirt that said, "I am confused as to which crimes get you deported." Right. Treason clearly doesn't. Selling out the American people clearly doesn't. Oh, and which ones get you elected? Which crimes get you deported and which crimes get you elected? Yep. Kathy Holcomb is the governor of New York State? Why did she call out the National Guard? Was it for that flooding? I mean, first of all, when it comes to the National Guard, hey, Tim Lilly, it was for a natural disaster. God damn it. It wasn't an artificially created crisis where there's nothing wrong. And not only that, she's the goddamn governor. The National Guard is supposed to work for the states. The National Guard is supposed to be there as a local militia to protect you from the overreach of the federal government. Turning them into the hands of the federal government is exactly the opposite of what we're supposed to do in the United States. So the Azeris, Pistol Pete, you're a liar. You're just a liar, and we don't need you here. So what did you just say, Pistol Pete, about the Azeris? Okay, so the Azeris are turning their backs on Moscow more and more every day. Evening, Andrew. Wait, is your real name Ken Rosenberg, Andrew? Never mind, that's a private joke. Whatchamacallit, the Azeris are turning away from Moscow, the Azeris. And the way that Moscow is losing in the Central Caucasus is these are really dominoes to watch. The big news with the Azeris is that they are now providing Soviet standard 122 millimeter and 152 millimeter howitzer shells to the Ukrainian army. And this is a big deal because the Ukrainians have lots of Soviet equipment, right? But they can't get from NATO anything but NATO standard shells. So they have to look elsewhere for Soviet standard shells like the 122, 152. The Azeris make them. And the Azeris have been planning on this for some time because we're getting reports now that the manufacturing facility, I forget the town it's in. It's not in Baku. It's someplace else. I apologize. But the manufacturing center where these shells are being made has recently been upgraded. Now, upgrades to a manufacturing facility like that generally take months. So Baku has been thinking about this for a long time. They have upgraded their facilities to produce thousands of 122, 152 millimeter Soviet standard shells per month that they are now sending to Ukraine. They have ramped up their own defense production, not just to supply Ukraine with shells, but to supply themselves because they are concerned about future military action by the Russians on their own border. So they've scaled up production not just for their allies, but for themselves, hedging bets against future incursions or problems with the Russians. They've taken a clear stand in supporting Kyiv now. Now, of course, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This doesn't come out of nowhere. We've seen formal protests by the Azeris against the Russians for the murder in police custody of Azeri nationals in Ekaterinburg. We saw the formal protest of the Azeris against the Russians for the shooting down of one of their civilian airliners recently. We saw the Nagorno-Karabakh debacle, where the Azeris went so far as to unalive Russian soldiers. And Russia was so overstretched in Ukraine, they couldn't do a goddamn thing about it. The only thing they did was empty themselves out of Armenia. They left it. Pulled up stakes, took all their equipment, shipped it to Ukraine, and turned away from Armenia, which of course has led Armenia to turn away from Moscow further and further. Russia is displeased with its former vassal state, Azerbaijan, and so it destroyed Azeri oil and gas facilities because the Trans-Balkan pipeline runs through Azerbaijan, through Turkey to Europe. And then there's a spur that feeds oil and gas facilities in Odessa. And specifically, there's an oil depot in Odessa and a gas, not a gas condensate, but just a gas pipeline transfer station that goes through there. Russians blew it up. Make no mistake, the Russians have lately targeted an American factory, targeted Azeri oil and gas interests in Ukraine, targeted the British Council building in Kyiv, and the EU mission to Ukraine. These are not accidents. These are intentional strikes against allied assets inside Ukraine with a very clear message. Back off. Ukraine belongs to us. You cannot help them. Back the fuck off. Well, if everybody did what the Azeris are doing and doubled down in the face of these threats, we'd be a lot better off, boy. Trump is never going to do it. He owes his entire existence to Vladimir Putin. So forget that. They're clearly threatening NATO, Tycho. They're not just threatening NATO, they're threatening Europe. Just on Soliev Live the other day, Soliev was going off about how he's going to take the Champs-Élysées. He's going to take Paris. They can't even take Pokrovsk. Who thinks they could take Paris? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The bullshit coming out of these bastards' mouths, how anybody listens to it without having a vomit session induced, is beyond me. Trump does not care about people, as Vladimir Putin does not care about people. Trump, we found out, right? Trump he doesn't give a fuck about whether or not Putin is murdering Ukrainian grandmothers in their beds, 17-year-old girls, children, little babies. He doesn't give a fuck about any of that. He wants the oil deals in the Arctic. He's been having secret negotiations with the Russians about normalizing trade. He does not care that he is dealing with an indicted war criminal who is responsible for this genocidal lunatic that has brought the biggest land war to Europe since World War II. Honest to God, Little Red, it's a crime and a sin. It's a crime and a sin. What else is going on, guys? The lunatics have taken over the asylum, Seawolf. You are not wrong. Hey, there's Dead Greenow. How you doing, pal? Ted wrote a wonderful piece on Viktor Orban that I used as a script for a video. I highly recommend giving it a listen. But I'll tell you, I'll actually read, Ted, because Viktor Orban, who is clearly a tool of the Kremlin, he's now the only real holdout for Russia or for Ukrainians' EU ascension. Well, the Polish president is making noise about that too. But he is a real problem. Let me read this one thing from Ted's piece. Because I think that this is important. Fisho is a problem too, but he doesn't have the weight to throw around that Orban does. So it's important to remember that Mustache Man was elected. Then he tore democracy down. The exact same thing is happening with the United States right now. And it's not happening in a new or interesting way. It's being done right from the autocrat's handbook. And Ted summed it up really beautifully here. Orban was democratically elected. Orban has spent years hollowing out that democracy from within. Exactly. He and his allies have captured the courts, dominated the media, and bent civil society to their will. Does this sound familiar, America? They've redrawn electoral rules to skew the system in their favor and stacked independent institutions, universities, regulators, and even the judiciary with loyalists. Exactly what we see happening inside of the United States today. Little Red, Congress has completely abnegated all of its responsibilities. They have just turned it all over to dear leader. We see it best in Lindsey Graham's sanctions bill on Russia. It's got 82 co-sponsors. That's the entire fucking Senate. He couldn't veto it if he wanted to, but they won't even bring it to the floor for a vote because he's asked them not to. Why did Trump? I don't know what you're talking about, Renvox, so I can't answer that question. Do the Poles have some historical issue with Ukraine? Yes. So the excuse that the Poles are using to object to Ukrainian accession into NATO, or I'm sorry, into the EU, is a massacre of Polish citizens by Ukrainian forces during World War II, when the western part of Ukraine was held by the Germans. So it was Ukrainian collaborators with the German occupation who committed the massacre, right? Seawolf, that's very thoughtful, but really, tomorrow is paid for, pal. Tomorrow is paid for. If anybody wants to sponsor a live next week, I've got live sponsors through Thursday now. So I'm very grateful to everybody who's sponsoring lives. Oh, actually, tonight was supposed to be Chris Carter. Chris, I bumped you. I'm sorry, pal. I bumped you because there were a whole bunch of people who sent, like Seawolf is saying, a couple bucks here and there for the barbecue tomorrow, and I wanted to highlight them. But everybody knows Chris Carter is a major supporter of this channel, and I'm deeply grateful to Chris for his now literal years of support. Peter, can you update on the EU deal with the US on buying weapons for Ukraine? Sure. It's completely transactional Donald Trump at his worst. He's not doing it for any reason other than the money. The EU can apparently buy all the weapons it wants and send them to Ukraine. But he doesn't want Vladimir Putin to be able to say, Donald Trump, why did you send weapons to Ukraine? He's using the Serbian excuse, right? Hey, we sell a lot of weapons. We don't know where they went. We don't know what people did with them. What are you going to do? It's just business. What you going to do? It's just business. So the program is called Pearl. That's the Priority Ukraine Request or Response List, something like that, PURL. And the idea is that all the Nordic countries can pool their money and buy $800 million worth of extended range munitions for Ukraine, which they just did. The money didn't exclusively come from Nordic countries. But there's an $800 million sale that's been approved. And that's for 3,350 long-range weapons, which DOD policy says Ukraine cannot use on Russian territory. Oh, my God. That is frustrating. Still, as I understand it, those ERAMs are going to be awfully handy on the front line. Well, Sandra, you're right. The rent is due. The $5 will not help with the rent. But honestly, I'm fine on the rent now, thanks to the very generous support of people like Chris Carter, Avi, Mike Nally. A bunch of people came through supporting the barbecue. So really, I'm okay. Thank you. If you send me money, I will just spend it on more ribs for the Ukrainians. How many 2 weeks have passed since Trump has helped Putin? His 2 weeks. He's done that now for 5 months. The next one expires on Monday. Actually, you know what? You're not wrong. He did say some of that shit before he was even in office, like in December, January time frame. So it's actually, you're right. You're right. It's more like 8 months. Thanks, Joe. I do like the cape. I do like the cape. Where was I? I can't even think of his name. Sandy Trowbridge. Sandy Trowbridge. What? I feel like he was the first Bush Secretary of Defense, Sandy Trowbridge. Does that sound right? He was in George Bush's cabinet, the first George Bush. And I only mention him because there was a stairway in disrepair. We used to go out to the Cape at my in-laws' place, and there was a stairway down to the beach that was in disrepair. And the family that donated it were the Browns, and Susan Brown was a neighbor who I was very friendly with. And I came to go to the beach one day, and there's Susan in one of her big sun hats with her big gardening gloves and her overalls on. And she's fixing the stairs, the broken stairs, with this gentleman. And my wife went to the beach, and I stayed behind to help them replace some of the broken stairs, fix the rail, etc. And it turned out that the guy that was there was Sandy Trowbridge. So I got to meet him that day, and we repaired the steps. I do love the Cape. The EU and US have always hobbled the Ukrainians to some extent. Dino, when I started watching this war, there was a naggy little thing at the back of my head. And to this day, I can't prove it. But my worst fear is for the Ukrainians. But when I think about the soul of the United States of America, my biggest fear is that we have intentionally let the Ukrainians bleed in order to bleed the Russians out. And we don't care how many Ukrainians die in the process. That is seriously the worst thought that I have had. And increasingly, I am concerned that it's reflective of reality, that that's really what's been going on. And I'm real sorry about that. Somebody else mentioned there that Trump is looking to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Well, that is such an autocrat thing to do. I mean, come on. The whole idea of the Department of Defense is that you are there to defend your own territory, not go and take Greenland away from the Greenlanders, which is what Trump wants to do. Not invade our neighbor Canada and steal their oil money and their Arctic sea routes so that you can cut down on your ship time to China from the East Coast. The peace president needs a Department of War, exactly. Simon, you and I and the president of Portugal are all on the same page. Trump is a Russian asset. Yeah, right. Trump has the nerve to say that Ukraine doesn't have any cards. The only cards in Trump's hands are jokers. Tuzix, I don't believe that that's true. the prime minister of Poland. That claim was made, Tuzik. That claim was made by the Minister of Digitalization in Poland, but the Prime Minister's office quickly denied that that was true. And so it does not appear that Starlink is in any danger because of the bill that was killed in the Polish parliament, or vetoed rather by the president. It's not a question of restoring it. It was never removed, according to the Prime Minister's office. It was that funding did not come through the Ukrainian aid bill for refugees. He actually chided the digitalization minister by saying, it's our job to, what did he say? It's our job to stop disinformation, not create it. Something to that effect. Something to that effect. Okay, we got about 15 minutes left, guys. Questions, comments? Where is Elon these days? Who gives a fuck? Every time I'm on Twitter and I see anything about Elon Musk, I immediately hashtag deport Elon now. This guy is a cancer in the United States. How dare he come to the United States, make a fortune off our system of economics and government, and then try to destroy it. So Hobo, hang on. What percentage of Ukrainian drones make their target? I don't know, Mike. I don't have any idea. How do you say that? Yeppe? Yeppe? Well, I appreciate your very kind words. Thank you. I mean, at least I don't do any harm to Ukraine. Now, wait, somebody just said there was just something here that I wanted to talk about. Oh, Hobo. So when I make ribs, it's too bad they're in the stage that they're in because I could show them to you. The first thing that I do is I do a dry rub to create the bark, right? That crisp, seasoned edge to the ribs. And so I make up a dry rub. It's black pepper, salt. Actually, it's a peppercorn melange. So it's black, white, green, and pink peppercorns ground. Some salt, some cumin, some cardamom, chili pepper, paprika. I prefer the Hungarian smoked paprika, but I can't find it here. And a few other spices and herbs, right? Garlic powder, onion powder, that kind of thing. I mix that all together. The first thing and the most critical thing you must do when you're making your ribs is remove that membrane off the back. That membrane stops the flavor from your rub seeping into the meat. So you got to rip that membrane off. Then you need a binding agent. Something that's going to, thank you, Matthew, you read my mind. You cover it in a binding agent like olive oil or mustard, anything that's going to let your spice rub adhere to the meat. So I slather the thing in Heinz yellow mustard, throw a liberal dose of the spice rub on there, and then flip it over and do the other side, right? That goes in the oven at 275 Fahrenheit, which is about, 130 Celsius, something like that. Goes into the oven for 2.5, 3 hours. Then I take them out and I wrap them in aluminum foil with butter, brown sugar, and then either molasses, honey, or maple syrup, as well as a little bit, just a quarter cup of beer for moisture. And then they go back in the oven for another 3 hours. I've never gone to a bunker, no. Nightshade, I'd give anything for some American bacon. I found something that's pretty close. The closest I've found yet. Has Ukraine hit enough Russian warships to make a difference in Ukraine? Well, John, the Russians never had much of a navy, right? Now, the fact that they have destroyed virtually every missile-carrying corvette in the Black Sea Fleet, sent them all down to Davy Jones's locker to become coral reef starter kits, has made a big difference in the war and will continue to. Hey, Jasmine. Jasmine stopped by my live this afternoon. You know what I love? I love a bacon buddy. A good Kaiser roll with fat strips of American bacon, and maybe the UK does not have the best bacon, guy. Please, stop. Please, don't even go there. I'm not saying that what you say is bacon isn't good. It's good. It's just not fucking bacon, pal. Canadian bacon. It's like Canadian bacon. I've never had Danish bacon. I don't know what that is. Canadian bacon is what we call in the United States ham. UK, rashers of bacon. In the United States, we call that ham. It is not bacon. Bacon is made from pork belly. You guys use pork belly for other things. Here in Ukraine, they use it all up for sallow. Hog jowl sandwiches, Mike Kelly. Where are you, in Georgia? There's some good turkey bacon out there. You know, it's funny, I didn't even think to look for turkey bacon in Ukraine. I wonder if you must be able to get it. Missouri. I don't believe you. Show me. Ireland has the best bacon. Oh, right on. What time is it? All right, it's Friday. It's tofu bacon, please. Here's a guy, right? Van is a guy who's probably had like warthog bacon out in the bush, right? I wonder if you could make. I wonder if warthog belly has any fat. I wonder if you could make bacon from a warthog. I don't know, Van. Now all I want is some boerewors. That's all I want right now. Blue and gold FFA bacon. Is my buddy Joe here? He'll talk about Taylor pork roll. That's a good one. Pizza bacon bits. That's usually made from, I can't think of what it's made from, but it's a plant-based. Most bacon bits are plant-based. You need to go to Corsica for boar bacon. Renvox, I like the way you think. Ukrainian wild boars are fearless. The problem, David, is you can't hunt now. There's no hunting in Ukraine right now, right? The fear of unexploded ordnance in the woods, the fear that somebody's going to mistake you for a Russian because you're in the woods with a gun. There is just, unless you're on very private land, there's no hunting in Ukraine right now. Ukrainians are fearless ones. I agree. Don't tease me, Anthony. Okay, we got just 9 minutes left. Let me get the list out again. Let me thank everybody. You guys are really great. I'm really deeply appreciative of the help with this last barbecue of the season. I really did spend a lot of money on the food this year. But to me, it is so important that there are English-speaking events for Ukrainians where there is no barrier to entry. All of the English language events that I do here in Kyiv are free of charge. Anybody can go. And to me, that's important. And that oasis of normalcy is important to people. And I'm very humbled to be part of it. All right, some of the people. Ho, ho, Frazier. You're going to be our sponsor next Thursday. Thanks, buddy. You want me to do it for Jeeps for Peace? Okay, you got it. I'll gladly give Jeeps for Peace some shout outs this week. So for the barbecue tomorrow, we got Nutmegger, we got Ted Greenow, we got Avi, we got Guard, we got Chris Carter, we got Arna, we got Sam Harris, and we got Michael Nally. Oh, and Norbert Hackoff. Geez, sorry, Norbert. I mean, I really appreciate it, guys. I was really broke at the beginning of the week, and I was wondering how I was going to pull this thing off tomorrow. And now I got 5 racks of ribs in the oven right now. People are going to be very happy tomorrow. Good night, Trent. Bip, I hope everybody's coming to my pig roast in Crimea. Akron, not even I could put away 5 racks of ribs. Everybody is invited to the pig roast in Crimea. After this war is over, when we have outlasted the fucking Russian Empire, when 500 years of Russian history sinks into the trash can of failed ideas where it belongs, I am going to roast some pigs on the beach. And I don't mean orcs, right? Maybe we'll do some hunting and we'll find some of that wild boar that isn't contaminated from Chernobyl. That is the other problem with hunting boar here. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. You are not wrong, my fishing addiction 77. I like some good Iowa pork. Yes, I do. I used to have a guy who would raise piglets for me for our pig roast. I used to do a summer solstice party where we would roast some pigs. And the great thing about that is you can set the diet for the pigs, right? And that will affect the fat content, the marbling, and the flavor. Peter Pellis will provide the coal for the roast. You got a coal mine in Ukraine, pal? Because it doesn't make any sense to bring in British coal. Feisty, when are you not mischievous? Your name is Feisty. Oh, look, this guy says, run USA. Tell us, Casey, what does that mean? Please tell us, enthrall us with your acumen. Are we all supposed to be afraid of you? Should we all run away because Casey said run USA? Ugh. Oh, you live here. Nice. No, I'm in Kyiv, Casey. Dark chocolate and red wine mushroom diet. Red wine mushroom diet. Run DMC. If you had ever seen me in profile, you would know that I don't run for anybody. I don't run from anybody. I don't run for anybody. I don't run at all. Hey, is Marilyn Fuller here? Hey, Marilyn, how you doing? There's Richard Prexis, too. I didn't say hi. RRUUNN. I tell you what, Casey, why don't you fuck off? Since when does the letter N mean in? Is that a thing? Am I just too old to know that that's a thing? Now you're in UK. Right on. Oh, I'm very old. I'm totally old, and I'm also not cool. Very important to remember both of those things. I am very old, and I am very not cool. Uh, right on, Mike Kelly. You on the left bank or the right bank when you're here, Peter? Oh, right in town. Nice. I do like Creshatic. Thanks, Guy. Hey, Betty Thompson. Hey, there's our buddy Andreas. Andreas is coming to the barbecue tomorrow. Oh, I didn't mention Andreas. Andreas contributed to the barbecue too. He's on the barbecue list. Thanks, buddy. Lithuania. Welcome to the house. Thanks, Betty. Andreas and I are going to try to do something from the beach tomorrow. Again, everybody, please do me a favor. Would you please report this guy that's stealing the videos. Does anybody have his name handy? Can anybody chat it in again? Skankaleen or whatever, Skanky. I can, Justin, and I think that's what we're going to try to do tomorrow. There it is, Shanktaleen. Is that the right spelling? Let me double check. Please report this guy. It's really annoying. Shanktaleen, that's it. Yep, you got it right. Shanktaleen. It displays as Shanktaleen 8, but his @ name is just @Shanktaleen. Kent R said I should just block him. And maybe I will, but then I'm afraid that he's just going to use a secondary account or a backup account to steal the videos and then just post them. Well, you know, we have a way to do that here, Lars. It's called Duet, right? Marius duets my stuff all the time. No worries there. But this, like, just taking my video and posting it as your own, putting it on a green screen so it looks like I'm in your apartment, I'm not down with any of that. I am not down with any of that. Okay. All right, guys, it's 1 a.m. here. I'm going to call it a night. And, you know what, just before we end, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to take you over here. Let me flip the camera around. Okay. Ooh. I'm just going to go over here because I am so very proud of them. And let's just take a look. Now, they're all wrapped in aluminum foil, right? But you can get an idea. Let's see if we can take a peek in here at one of these. Oh, baby. Look at that. Can you see them? Right, so I got five racks of ribs. Thanks to all. I was just going to do chicken and sausage, but then a bunch of people kicked in, and suddenly it was all very doable. You know. Oh my God, dude, it smells so good in here. I got to tell you, it really does. It really does. Tomorrow, or maybe I'll do a little follow-up video. Watch for a follow-up video. Or should we do a little cooking? Does anybody want to hang out and I'll make the barbecue sauce? Oh, hey, I want to thank Parda because it was Parda who pointed out that this shank Talene was active. And I really appreciate it, Parda. Thank you. When I'm doing the dry rub, I do them on parchment paper. But now I'm moved into the moist, right? How do you get them moist? Wrap them in aluminum foil, put a quarter cup of beer in there, butter, brown sugar, and honey is what I use tonight. Right? So it's a two-step process. Paper dry rub first, then the wet. Well, there's a lot worse things you could have visions of in your head. I don't have a smoker. So, no, they're pork ribs. I don't have a smoker, so I'll rely on the grill tomorrow. So what I'll do is, because they take so long, right, to get them really where I want them, I do them in the oven the night before, and then I just finish them, glaze them in the barbecue sauce on the grill tomorrow, and finish them on the grill. And that gets me a nice result, and you get a nice smoky flavor from the grill. You know. All right, kids, I'm going to call it a night. And I will talk to everybody Monday, or maybe tomorrow we'll see you in the live. Andreas and I are going to live stream from the beach. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great day.